Hey guys, Dylan from Noble Records coming at you with another video. I'm a little late on this, but I'm doing my vinyl tag. I've been wanting to do it. Um, I swear, like right when the clock struck midnight on the new year, people were posting them. And so there's some different versions, but if you're not familiar with what a vinyl tag is, at the beginning of every year, the you know, vinyl community gods come up with. I don't know where they come from, but that people come up with questions. Just an excuse to show some records. But what I like about it is it's a good idea for a video. It kind of gets everybody on the same page, and then a lot of new channels emerge from it every year. So people that they want to make a channel, but they don't really know how to introduce themselves into the vinyl community. This is a really easy way to do it. Anybody can do it. Just upload a video and call it Vinyl Tag 2022. Lord have mercy. And people will find it just because people like seeing people's answers to all the questions. So I got my question from Norman Maslow. He's got a great channel. But I know there's like 20 different iterations of it. But these are my questions. I'm going to put them in the description. You'll see a list of questions. These are the ones I'm going off of. So like I said, just an excuse to make a video for a lot of people, and then hopefully, love to see you guys, like some new people pop up, showing some records that they haven't done it before. So that's the whole goal of the vinyl tag for me. I gotta have a list, or I'll get off course. Even though I have the records, I will not remember them all. So question number one is favorite album purchase in 2021. Now, I'm going to show this one so I don't show the same record twice, but number two question is show the record you spent the most on. They're both the same answer, but I'm going to use just for the excuse to show another record. Farm is the one that, looked for it forever, never thought I'd have one, and it just slipped through my fingers so many times. I had a couple people that had them and they wouldn't let them go, and I had one guy that had one, but he wouldn't let it go unless I had the right thing to trade. And then it was annoying how I just could not get my hands on it. It was so close. And I actually found two copies of this year, if you believe it or not. The second one I found, a friend of mine had been wanting one, and I ended up hooking him up with it. But it was kind of a little bit of a beater copy. But this one's a really nice copy, and it was my number one want, and I got it. So I'm super excited, super stoked to have that one. So that's number one. Number two is the record you spent the most on in 2021. This is a record I spent the most on my whole life, and I don't think I'll ever spend more than this. But this is a Fraction Moonblood. I'm not going to tell you how much I spent. You can just wonder to yourself. But this is my favorite record purchase of all time. It doesn't, I mean, even though Farm is awesome and I love it, I'm thrilled to have it, this is a lot more rare. This is one of those records that just impossible to find. I would have been happy to just hold one. It was that rare. So it was worth it to me, and I sold a bunch of stuff to get it, and it sold a bunch. I don't know how many I sold. I don't know, 300 records or so to get that one. And it was worth it. It's great. An album, number three is album by the first person you saw live. This is Leonard Skinner, Best of the Rest. Now, I don't keep a lot of greatest hits albums. It's kind of one of my rules, but this one has like a little bit of a sentimental value. So when I was probably 10, my parents took us to Nashville for a vacation, and they dropped us off in the park, and they were having this like kids concert, and it sucked. I don't know what it was, can't remember, but it was like real, kiddie music, and I wasn't into it because I was a sophisticated 10-year-old. And so I started walking around downtown Nashville. I didn't have a cell phone or anything. That was not even a thought, and I just was like, I'll be back in like a couple hours, and then my parents pick me up, and they'll never be the wiser. I'll just walk around downtown. So I went into all these guitar stores and record stores and all that stuff. It was a blast, way better than the kids concert. But I went into this record store, and they had this record, Best of the Rest, and I wanted it because I loved Leonard Skinner. Hadn't seen them live yet, but I loved Leonard Skinner, and I grew up with it, loved them. And then this baseball, and the skeleton hand and the revolver. It was just I loved baseball when I was a kid, and it was just everything. And I saw this cover. It was the first time I ever saw it, and I was like, I have to have this record. This is awesome. And I think it was $3, right? So I look in my pocket. I'm in luck. I got 3 crisp $1 bills in my pocket. That's all I've got. So go up to the counter. I throw it on the counter, and he says $3.27 or whatever. I don't know what the change was. And I was like, sir, all I've got is this $3. Is there any way you could just take this $3 for it? And he's like, no. And he was like such a jerk about it. And I was like, please, I really, really want it, please. And he's like, no. And so I was so pissed. I walked out of there and I was like, man, I'm going to find that one day. And it took me years to find this copy. I don't know why, because I've seen 1,000 since then. But just is one that eluded me. For some reason, I just wanted it because of the cover art. And so that's a fun story for you. I haven't told that one in a while. But there's nothing special about the record other than how it was like a personal vendetta to get it. So that was number 3, album by the first person you saw live. I saw them live when I was like 14, I think. It was my first concert. My first real concert. Number 4 is show a record from a brand new band / artist you got in 2021. So I know this is the whole point. This is to show records, but this record is the best example, and I don't have it with me. It's at the shop. So a lot of like newer records that I keep in stock, I'll keep them at the shop because I just play them on. And so people are like, hey, what's this? And you say, well, this is this. You should buy it. But my favorite like kind of discovery of this year, record that came out this year, it's a female singer-songwriter named Danielle Dirac, and the name of her album is No Place, and it is fantastic, really, really good. And I think you could probably still buy this record on her website, but hasn't really blown up or anything. It's just one that I found that came out this year, and I just love every song on the record. Really killer. But yeah, I have it. I play in the shop all the time, so that's the reason why it's not here. It's at the shop. Number 5, album in the shrink. Now, you guys know me. I collect records in the shrink. I love it. I love shrink. So this is a torn thing. Some people don't like shrink. Some people do. Whatever. I'm a shrink guy. So I was trying to find an album that I have that is unreasonable that it would be in shrink. And it's this one. This is one of the craziest shrinkers I've got. This is the Golden Dawn Power Plant. This is one of my favorite finds of the year. Found this year, and it's in the shrink, and it's crispy. Super, 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 super clean. Unless you had a seal when you couldn't have a cleaner copy. So thrilled to have this record. But it's just kind of crazy. Most of the time you see them, and they're beat. But when they're clean, those colors really pop, and it's just a beautiful. The album art is just out of this world. I absolutely love it. And there's your Shrinky Shrink. Number 6, a concept album. This is not one you probably automatically think of when you think concept album, but it is. This is the Kinks, the Village Green Preservation Society. This is my favorite Kinks record, and it is a white label promo, and it is stone mint. Any chance I get to show this, I will. Just because you never see clean promos of this. And it took me years to find an original of this, and I sold it when I got this. But this is just, as far as Kinks go, most other Kinks records are good for me. They're fine, but they're not, nothing to write home about. I'm not a huge Kinks guy, but this one's a different story. Absolutely love this record. Phenomenal. Number 7, show a record you love, but you haven't given much love as of late. So that is a record that you have and you love it, but you haven't listened to it much lately. And that's this one. I had pulled this for my Shrink album because this was sealed when I got it. But this is a Mistreater Hell's Fire. I got this year and I was super excited to get it. And just kind of the cycle of when I got it, I was in a cleanup mode and I filed it away real quickly. And I only listened to it a couple times. But this was one I really, really, really looked for. And I really was stoked to finally track down a copy. I tracked down a sealed copy. And this thing is perfect, I just sliced it right here to open it. But this is one diabolical record. Early hard rock / metal, crazy guitar solos. And I haven't talked about it much on my channel. I don't know if I've talked about it at all. But this is if you love guitar work, you have got to listen to this record. Hell's Fire by Mistreater. It is dope. And they have a good reissue of it too, so check that out. Number 8, a live album. This one came out this year. It just said live album. You didn't have to have one from this year. And my go-to live album to show is the Allman Brothers Fillmore. But this one it came out this year. This Carnegie Hall, Neil Young. It is just stunning, incredible live album. I absolutely blew my socks off when this came out. Love this record. So there's a good live one. Number 9, album from a different continent. I almost grabbed Zeppelin for this because why not? But I decided to get something a little bit more off the radar because the whole secondary point of this is to kind of show y'all some records I don't always show. I feel like there's a lot of records that I show a lot, and so, Fraction Moonblood and Farm, I show those a lot. But anyways, this is a record called Sperrmull. And it is a German heavy prog, really killer heavy prog organ action in there. This is a freaking killer record. I love it. I don't talk about it very much, but when I got it maybe a couple years ago, and it was on heavy rotation on my turntable for a while. The word Sperrmull in German means garbage, but not garbage like trash can garbage. Garbage like big garbage, like couches and mattresses and stuff that you set on the side of the road for the trucks to come get. That is what I've been told it means. It's not trash can garbage. It is big garbage. Anyways, whatever. In English, there's a lot less words probably. But anyways, fantastic krautrock record. Okay, that was number 9. Number 10 is show the most out of your comfort zone record you got. Now, my comfort zone is pretty wide. I don't buy things that are out of my comfort zone because I'm pretty comfortable with everything. So, kind of hard to answer that one. But I got this one. This one's something a little different that I bought, I guess. But this is Snarky Puppy Family Dinner Volume 2. This is just something I wouldn't normally buy. But there's just some really, really cool, not compilation, but what do you call it? Collaborations, different artists that came on here, and Jacob Collier is he's this brilliant kind of composer. He can play any instrument. The kid's prodigy, unreal. But just some real, I guess you'd say, jazz funk, fusion. Fusion would probably be, but it's just weird. It's weird music, but it's really good. So this is Family Dinner where they kind of sit down and they just play some unreal stuff. There's some YouTube clips from this. That is what kind of introduced me to this album, and it is crazy stuff. Okay, number 11, punk or new wave album. I bought a lot of punk albums this year because I kind of hit a punk honey hole last year or this year, I can't remember. But this is one I got and I listened to a lot. This one is Undertones. This is the originally UK press. It's autographed by a couple guys in the band. And man, when I got this, when I find things I don't really know that look interesting, I will listen to it. And when I found all these punk albums, I found maybe 50, 60 maybe. And I just was determined to listen to them all before I sold them. And I ended up not selling any of them because, this is just fantastic. There's a lot I could have showed. This one just kind of was the one that stood out to me that I just fell in love with. But this really killer record. Love the Undertones. Number 12 is a jazz album. This is one that I haven't talked about a lot, but I was really thrilled to find this because they're really hard to find that are clean. I'm not going to be able to pronounce this. But this is Alice Coltrane Quintet featuring Pharoah Sanders. Ptah the El Duoud. I don't know how to say it. But anyways, it's really, really great Alice Coltrane record. I love Alice Coltrane. Love John Coltrane. The way that my brain leads a little bit towards jazz is kind of the spiritual jazz Well, jazz funk, but if you're going to go straight jazz, a little on the avant-garde side. I'm not, if it gets too out there, you lose me. But, anyways, this is just a really tough record to find, and I was thrilled to find it this year. Yeah. Let's see. Number 13, a soundtrack. This is the one that stood out. I do not have many soundtracks. The soundtracks I do have are my kids' soundtracks, so it doesn't really count. And this Woodstock soundtrack was one I was going to pick because the founder of Woodstock, died today. But anyways, this is the one that stood out that I got this year. This is Hair and Things. This is it's from Hair. But this is Dennis Coffey Trio. Got this year and I just burned it up. I listened to this so much. The guitar is so good. It's so funky. It is so good. This is one that I've listened to probably, if I had to pick 5 records that I listened to the most this year, this would be in there. It got a lot of play, and it's amazing. And I'm not a soundtrack guy, so it's just purely because of the music. Number 14, Album with No Writing on the Jacket. This is just the first one that came to mind. But this is Moby Grape. Wow. This is one, when I first started collecting Psych, I really wanted it because it's got a cool album art cover. But it's a good starter Psych record. I think these, usually go for like $10 or less. But it's a really great Psych record. It's a great starter if you're just getting into Psych and you're trying to, get your feelings and find, what you really like and not spend too much money. It's a great one. Let's see. So that's Album with No Writing on the Jacket. Number 15 was a colored vinyl album. Now I got a lot of colored vinyl. But this is the one. It was close to me, so I grabbed it. This is what I found. I think I found it this year, but this is The Fray, How to Save a Life. Great record. Listened to this like crazy in college. When I played a lot of coffee shop gigs, I learned a lot of these songs and played them, and every time I hear anything from this record, it just takes me right back to that place. It's kind of cool to reminisce. But I love The Fray. I'm a big Fray fan of all their albums. I've listened to them and loved them. It's really funny. Back when those records were popular, this is on yellow vinyl, by the way. This is really hard to get. But when those albums were really popular, man, I listened to them all the time. Like I had a job landscaping for a couple years, and it was before I didn't have any music on my phone at the time. So I had it on my iPod. There's no streaming. There probably was streaming, maybe, I don't know. But anyways, and so I just listened to those albums over and over again on my iPod. But kind of in the past few years, I've become really good friends with Ben Wasaki, the drummer. He's a record head, and I've had him on my channel a couple times. Really cool guy. But anyways, number 16, Show Your Pride Dig of 2021. So I guess that's like what you're most proud of. And that's really hard to say, but if I'm talking about like me going out on digs, like a lot of my really good stuff, some of it I get from digs, but most of it I get from other collectors. Like we trade stuff, and so it's not stuff I'm going out and digging out. Now, sometimes that definitely does happen. So I have found, but this is the one that kind of jumps out. The one I was so excited about. So I drove to a friend's house in Virginia. He was moving and was getting rid of some things. And it was just like one of those things to where, he's a collector and he said he wanted to get rid of some things, but you never really know how that's going to go because you don't want to pick the best things out of somebody's collection and then them get mad at you and you don't know how serious they are about it. And you don't know if they're just pulling out all their junk to sell you. So you really never know how that's going to go. And he was just so nice and sold me some really great things out of his collection. A lot of things that I ended up keeping. Still have a box over here of stuff I'm kind of getting through and showing him in videos and stuff. But when I feel like I need to buy a record, I'll just go there and grab one and be like, oh, here's one. But this is the one, the Glass Bead Games, the Clifford Jordan Quintet. This is a absolute grail of mine. I wanted it so bad. and I knew he had one, and I was just like, hey, if you ever want to sell that, let me know. Like, not even today, but I was like, if I think it was a 6-hour drive one way. So he was really respectful of the drive that I'd taken and hooked me up with some awesome records. And it was one of the best digs I've been on in a long, long, long time. So that was one I got from that, and I've just been thrilled with it. Listened to it a lot. 17, show a record from a band from the past that you totally bypassed until recently. I thought about showing Little Feat, but I've been talking about Little Feat a lot. I've listened to Little Feat a lot over the years, but just not really gotten into them. This is the one that kind of stands out in 2021, maybe 2020, but definitely 2021. I've listened to a lot of Rush, and I saw Rush live when I was a kid, and really liked it. And I've always respected the, proficiency of all the players, and I like the music when I hear it. It's one of those things. I really like it every time I hear it. When it comes on the radio, Tom Sawyer, I turn it up. Love it, But really getting into the band is a different story. There's a lot of bands like that I like their hits. You hear it and you turn it up and you like it. You're like, ooh, I like that. But you don't really get into it, And Rush is one. Watched that documentary on Netflix. It was really good. And just kind of started picking up their records and giving them, another once over and really enjoying them. So this is one. I got a super clean copy of this recently, and yeah, been getting into Rush a little bit more lately. It's not like I've never listened to them. It's just one of those things. Okay, number 18, show a box set. Now, I've been listening to this box set. Now, we all know box sets aren't for listening. They're for looking pretty. But this is a box set that probably one of my favorites. I was thrilled to get. This is the Mars Volta box set that came out this year. La Realidad de los Sueños. But, yeah, I've been listening to this lately. I've been really into the Mars Volta lately. Listened to it a lot, actually. Over the past 4 days, I've been listening to a lot of Mars Volta. And, to say which album's the best, for me, I really love Francis the Mute is my favorite. And I think the reason why, there's all of the albums are really great in their own right, and it's hard to pick. But for me, Francis the Mute stands out to me. When I was a kid, just I hung out with this group of guys, and every Friday night we would get together and have a bonfire, and we'd stay up all night and tell stories, and just we were wild men of the woods. We would be out there, telling crazy wild stories and listening to we'd listen to Guns N' Roses and all stuff like that. But for whatever reason, we listened to Francis the Mute too. I don't know. It was kind of out of the norm of what we would normally listen to, but man, when I hear it, especially The Widow, that song, when I hear it, it just, I'm telling you, it zaps me back in that time. It was such a cool, pure, innocent time in my life, to where, it was just me and a bunch of friends of mine that were just these primal men out in the woods, with, making bonfires and, just having fun. It was a good time. So that was number 18. Number 19, show your favorite, coolest cover art of 2021, or that you got that year. That is definitely Hot Poop. As you can see, this is a real messed up cover. This is a cover I would never put my music if I were to have an album. This wouldn't be the cover. In this cover, you have a man here. He's defecating on this side. And he is defecating upon some plates. This kind lady here is passing the plate on to this other lady, who is heating it up with a spoon. And this guy's injecting the spoon full of poop into his arm. And then this guy's probably, let's be honest, if he's already done this, he's probably dead. So, anyways, that's my favorite. It's just called Hot Poop Does Her Own Stuff. Got this album last year. It's just hilarious. The whole thing's hilarious. But it's really good, garagey, psychedelic, And the cover is just the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. And then the last one is show a record that you got as VCLT. That stands for Vinyl Community Love Train. Vinyl community, sometimes if you know someone's looking for a record, or they'll like a record, or they don't have a record, or they need a record, you kind of send them one for free. It's kind of a nice thing to do. A lot of times they'll send something back, sometimes they don't. That's not required, but you get a little cool little back and forth between people. And I've got a couple friends like that I send them stuff and they send me stuff, and we just, we know what each other likes. But a friend of mine on Instagram, Chris, he sent me this. He's another Towns Van Zandt aficionado, and we were talking about the towns that we needed, and this was one of the only ones I still needed. And he was like, "Oh man, you got to get it. It's so good. It's like live in the '90s. I think it's like live in '94, I believe. 94 is the majority, and then there's a track from '96, a track from '91, another track from '96. But anyways, this is just one of those. He's like, man, this is a killer live record. You got to get it. And he found me one, sent it to me. And this is not a cheap record. This is an expensive record. It's very hard to find. And he was nice enough to find one and send it to me for free. And I hit him back with something really cool that he's been wanting. So, anyways, it's kind of fun to do that. Kind of find friends like that and swap stuff. But if you're watching this video and you don't have any videos on YouTube and you want to do it, it's a lot of fun. You meet a lot of people. Get deeper into the record world, which is always a good thing. But I hope you guys are having a great New Year so far, and we'll see you guys next time.